Have you ever really questioned whether the fish you're eating is helping your health or quietly hurting it? Most of us have been told for years that fish is one of the healthiest foods we can eat. It's supposed to be good for the heart, great for the brain, and easy on the body. But here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Some types of fish may actually do the opposite, especially as we get older. After 50, your body changes, your metabolism slows, your organs work a little harder, and your risk for certain conditions like high blood pressure, joint pain, and memory loss increases. So while fish can be a smart choice, it really depends on what kind of fish you're eating. Unfortunately, some fish that seem harmless, or are even marketed as healthy, may be increasing inflammation, raising your sodium levels, or carrying toxins that your body can no longer handle as easily as it used to. In this guide, I'll walk you through 6 types of fish that older adults should think twice about, and why they may be silently contributing to issues with your heart, joints, or cognitive health. Don't worry, I'll also share better alternatives so you can still enjoy seafood without risking your well-being. If you're over 50 and want to take better care of your body, starting with your plate, you're in the right place. Backhand index pointing right if this is the kind of honest, useful information you've been looking for. Just comment 1 below to let me know you're here and paying attention. And if you think it could be better, comment 0. I take your feedback seriously. Now let's get into it. Fish number 1. Squid, a tasty risk hiding in plain sight. Now, I know what you're thinking, but squid is delicious. I only have it once in a while, maybe as calamari at a restaurant. And you're not wrong, squid is a popular appetizer, especially when it's deep-fried and crispy. Feels light, fancy, and harmless. But the truth is, for those of us over 50, squid can quietly work against the very health goals we care most about, keeping our hearts strong, our joints pain-free, and our cholesterol in check. Let's start with the basics. Squid is naturally high in cholesterol. In fact, a 100-gram serving, just under 4 ounces, of raw squid can contain over 230 milligrams of cholesterol. That's already close to, or even above, the daily limit recommended for people who are watching their heart health. And once it's deep-fried, that number can skyrocket, not to mention the added saturated fats and oils used in the frying process. Here's where it really matters. As we age, our bodies don't process cholesterol the same way they did in our 30s or 40s. Many older adults are already dealing with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or are taking medications to manage these conditions. Adding high cholesterol foods like squid to the diet, especially on a regular basis, can undermine your progress without you realizing it. It's not always about how you feel in the moment. It's about how these small decisions add up over months and years. Another concern is sodium, not from the squid itself, but from how it's usually prepared. Fried squid is typically seasoned heavily with salt or dipped in salty sauces. And if you're ordering it at a restaurant, you rarely know just how much salt or oil you're getting. This can be especially dangerous for older adults managing hypertension, fluid retention, or heart disease. The sodium can sneak in and raise your blood pressure over time, making your heart work harder than it needs to. And let's not forget about digestive issues. Fried squid is not easy on the stomach. It's dense, oily, and for many older adults, hard to digest. This can lead to bloating, discomfort, or even acid reflux, especially if eaten in the evening. So what's the bottom line here? Squid might be fine as an occasional treat, but it's not a smart choice to make a regular part of your diet, especially after 50. There are far better seafood options that give you the protein you need without the cholesterol overload or digestive stress. If you still want something tender and savory from the sea, consider switching to grilled salmon or steamed white fish seasoned with herbs instead of salt. You'll protect your heart, support your memory, and feel lighter after eating. All wins, especially as we age. Now that you know what makes squid risky for older adults, let's move on to another type of fish that many people think is healthy, but actually comes with some serious concerns. Fish number 2. Escolar, the butterfish that can wreck your gut. Escolar is one of those fish that sounds luxurious. It's rich, buttery, and smooth. So much so that many people compare its texture to high-quality tuna or even salmon. It's often served raw at sushi restaurants or lightly grilled at upscale places. But beneath that silky bite lies a digestive time bomb, especially for older adults. Let's talk straight. Escalar contains a natural waxy substance called gempolotoxin, a type of fat that the human body cannot digest. Not has trouble digesting, can't digest at all. Instead of being processed normally, this wax ester passes through your system almost unchanged. And what happens when your body can't break something down? You guessed it, it tries to get rid of it. This is where things can get very uncomfortable. Even a modest portion of Escalar, sometimes as little as 6 ounces, can lead to symptoms like explosive diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, and oily orange anal leakage. Yes, that's as unpleasant as it sounds. This reaction is so well known that Escalar has been nicknamed the X-lax fish. For younger people with strong digestion, maybe this passes quickly. But for older adults, it's a different story. Our digestive systems tend to slow down with age, and many of us are already dealing with gut sensitivity, acid reflux, irritable bowel issues, or even compromised kidney and liver function. Adding a fish like Escalar into the mix can cause sudden and severe digestive distress. And in some cases, it can lead to dehydration, which is especially dangerous for seniors. Now here's the tricky part. Escalar is often mislabeled. In the US, the FDA doesn't ban the sale of Escalar, but they do warn against serving it due to its side effects. Still, it often pops up in sushi bars labeled as white tuna or just butterfish. This kind of misleading labeling makes it hard for even careful eaters to avoid. And the risk isn't just about digestion. There's also concern that eating Escalar repeatedly over time could strain your liver and gallbladder, especially if you already have existing conditions or are on medications that affect fat metabolism. So what should you do? The best advice: skip Escalar entirely. There are no real nutritional benefits that you can't get from safer, healthier fish. Instead, go for options like cod, halibut, or flounder mild white fish that are gentle on the stomach, low in unhealthy fats, and easy to prepare. You'll avoid embarrassing digestive surprises and keep your system running smoothly. Here's a simple takeaway. If you see white tuna on a menu, ask what it actually is. If they say it's Escalar, do yourself a favor, say no, and go with something your body will thank you for. Fish number 3, albacore tuna, a sneaky source of mercury for older adults. Tuna is one of the most recognizable and widely consumed fish in the United States, and for good reason. It's tasty, convenient, high in protein, and often marketed as a heart-healthy option. But when it comes to albacore tuna, there's an important caveat, especially for people over 50. Let's clear up some confusion first. Tuna isn't just one type of fish. There are several varieties: skipjack, yellowfin, bluefin, and albacore. Of these, albacore is the one commonly found in white canned tuna. It has a firmer texture, milder flavor, and is often considered a premium option. But here's what many people don't realize. Albacore also contains significantly more mercury than other types of tuna. Why does that matter? As we age, our bodies become more vulnerable to heavy metal buildup, and mercury is one of the most dangerous. It's a neurotoxin, meaning it can damage the brain and nervous system. While a healthy younger person may process small amounts without much issue, older adults can accumulate mercury more easily, leading to memory problems, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and in severe cases, even increasing the risk of cognitive decline or dementia. This is especially concerning for older adults who already struggle with senior moments, brain fog, or who have a family history of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Mercury exposure can silently amplify those risks over time, often without obvious warning signs. So how much mercury are we talking about? Canned light tuna, usually skipjack, has relatively low mercury content, around 0.12 ppm, but albacore tuna averages 3 times as much, with levels around 0.35 ppm or higher. That means eating just 1 6-ounce can of albacore a week could exceed the safe limit for mercury intake recommended by health authorities for older adults. And let's be honest, many people eat more than 1 serving, especially when tuna is a lunchbox staple or go-to salad topper. There's also the issue of cumulative exposure. Even if you don't feel anything right away, mercury builds up in the body slowly. It can take months or even years for the effects to show, by which time the damage may be harder to reverse. But the good news? You don't have to give up tuna altogether. Here's what you can do. Choose canned light tuna instead of albacore. Comes from smaller fish and contains far less mercury. Limit albacore tuna to once or twice per month at most, or avoid it entirely if you have any cognitive health concerns. Add more low-mercury, omega-3 rich fish to your diet, like wild-caught salmon, sardines, trout, or herring. If you're unsure about your mercury exposure, talk to your doctor about a mercury test, especially if you eat tuna or seafood frequently. Older adults have different nutritional needs than younger folks, and that includes being more cautious about toxins in food. Swapping out albacore for safer options isn't just a small dietary tweak. It could be a smart long-term investment in your memory, mood, and mental clarity. Fish number 4. Sardines. Small fish, big benefits. But not for everyone. Sardines often get overlooked, but they're actually one of the most nutrient-packed fish out there. These small silvery fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, high-quality protein, calcium, vitamin D, selenium, and B vitamins. And because they're typically eaten whole, bones and all, sardines deliver a solid dose of bone-strengthening minerals, which can be incredibly beneficial for older adults. So what's the catch? Despite their impressive nutrient profile, sardines aren't the perfect choice for everyone, especially people over 50 who are dealing with specific health conditions. In fact, in some cases, sardines could actually be making things worse without you even realizing it. Let's start with the good. Omega-3 fatty acids found in sardines are known for reducing inflammation, improving heart health, and supporting brain function. For older adults, that's a huge plus. These fats help lower triglyceride levels, support joint health, and may even reduce the risk of developing age-related cognitive decline. They're also budget-friendly, widely available, and come in convenient canned versions, making them a practical choice for many. But here's what you need to look out for. First, sardines are naturally high in purines, compounds that break down into uric acid in the body. If you're prone to gout, a painful form of arthritis, this can be a serious issue. Too much uric acid in the blood leads to crystal buildup in the joints, causing intense pain, swelling, and stiffness, often starting in the big toe but sometimes affecting knees, wrists, or ankles. If you've had gout flare-ups in the past or have been told your uric acid levels are high, eating sardines regularly could trigger those flare-ups and seriously impact your quality of life. Second, let's talk sodium. Most people eat sardines straight from the can, and here's where things get tricky. Canned sardines are often loaded with salt, sometimes containing 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. For older adults managing high blood pressure, heart conditions, or kidney disease, that kind of sodium can be risky. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing salt. Too much sodium can raise blood pressure, put extra strain on the heart, and worsen conditions like heart failure or chronic kidney disease. Even for those without diagnosed health problems, consistently high sodium intake can slowly erode cardiovascular and kidney health over time. So what should you do? If you enjoy sardines and want to keep them in your diet, moderation is key. Aim for no more than 150 grams, about one small can, per week, and opt for fresh sardines whenever possible. They're naturally lower in sodium and free from preservatives. If canned is your only option, choose low sodium or no salt added versions, and rinse them thoroughly before eating to remove some of the excess salt. And try pairing sardines with low purine, low sodium foods like leafy greens, quinoa, or whole grains to balance things out. Most importantly, if you have a history of gout, hypertension, or kidney issues, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before making sardines a regular part of your diet. In the end, sardines can be a healthy addition, but like many things in life, it's all about the right amount and the right context. Fish number 5. Tilapia, the healthy fish that might be fooling you. Tilapia has become one of the most popular fish in American households. It's affordable, easy to cook, and has a mild, non-fishy flavor, which makes it a go-to choice for older adults who want something light, quick, and palatable. On the surface, it seems like a smart option. Low in calories, high in lean protein, and widely available. But here's what most people don't realize. Tilapia isn't always the heart-healthy choice it's made out to be. Let's break this down. especially if you're over 50 and trying to protect your joints, heart, and brain. The biggest issue with tilapia is its fatty acid profile. Unlike salmon or sardines that are rich in anti-inflammatory omega-3s, tilapia is much higher in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 fats aren't bad in small amounts. Our bodies need them. But when we eat too many omega-6 and not enough omega-3s, it can throw off the balance and lead to chronic inflammation. And if you're dealing with arthritis, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, or even early signs of cognitive decline, inflammation is the last thing you need. Here's what that imbalance can look like. More stiffness and pain in your joints, higher risk of plaque buildup in your arteries, memory problems and increased brain fog, difficulty managing blood sugar and blood pressure. Many people over 50 are already facing some of these challenges. Eating tilapia frequently, especially without balancing it with omega-3 rich foods, may unknowingly add fuel to the fire. Another thing to consider is where your tilapia comes from. Most of the tilapia sold in the US is farmed, and much of it is imported from countries where aquaculture practices may not meet the same standards as here. These fish are often raised in overcrowded tanks and fed a low-quality diet, usually corn or soy-based feed, which further increases their omega-6 content. Worse, some farming operations may use antibiotics or chemicals to prevent disease in these cramped conditions. Over time, small traces of these substances can build up in the fish and end up on your plate. While these levels are typically considered safe, long-term, repeated exposure can be more concerning, especially for older adults with slower liver and kidney function. So, does this mean you should never eat tilapia again? Not necessarily. But it does mean you should be smart about how often and where you get it from. If you like tilapia, try to limit your intake to about 150 grams, roughly one modest serving, per week. That way, you're not flooding your body with too many omega-6. More importantly, make sure you're also including omega-3 rich foods like salmon, trout, mackerel, walnuts, or flax seeds to keep the balance in check. When buying tilapia, look for responsibly farmed or sustainably sourced options, ideally certified by organizations like the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, ASC. These products are more likely to come from operations that monitor water quality and avoid the use of harmful chemicals. And if you're already managing an inflammatory condition, heart disease, or memory issues, talk to your healthcare provider about how tilapia fits into your overall plan. It's all about knowing what you're putting on your plate and choosing foods that support the health you want to maintain. Fish number 6. Eel, a fatty delicacy that comes with hidden dangers. Eel might not be an everyday food for most Americans, but for many older adults, it holds a certain nostalgia. Maybe you've enjoyed it grilled at a Japanese restaurant, or had it as a delicacy in your younger years during special celebrations. Its rich, buttery taste and tender texture make it unique. But if you're over 50, eel is a fish you need to approach with serious caution. Here's why. Eel is one of the fattiest fish out there. A typical 100-gram serving can contain up to 25 grams of fat, which is far more than what you'd find in salmon, sardines, or even mackerel. And while some fats, like omega-3s, are beneficial, eel's fat content is simply too high, especially for older adults whose bodies may not process fat as efficiently. As we age, our liver and pancreas naturally become less efficient, and our metabolism slows down. High-fat meals can lead to elevated cholesterol levels, fatty liver disease, weight gain, especially around the abdomen, and a higher risk of heart disease and atherosclerosis. For older adults managing conditions like high triglycerides, heart problems, or metabolic syndrome, eating a fish as fatty as eel regularly can quietly worsen these issues over time. But the concerns don't stop there. Eel is also known to accumulate toxic substances, and that's something many people aren't aware of. Because eels are long-lived and often dwell in polluted waters, such as rivers, estuaries, and coastal zones, they have a high chance of absorbing and storing environmental contaminants in their fatty tissue. This includes mercury, a heavy metal that builds up in the brain and can impair memory and focus, PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, industrial chemicals linked to cancer and immune system damage, and dioxins, toxic compounds associated with hormonal disruption and inflammation. These contaminants tend to accumulate gradually, And because our bodies lose some ability to detoxify efficiently with age, the long-term effects can become more serious. Think of it like this. Every bite might seem harmless, but over the years it adds up. For those already concerned about cognitive decline, heart health, or hormonal imbalances, eel could quietly be doing more harm than good. So what's the best course of action? Treat eel like an occasional indulgence, not a regular meal. If you really enjoy it, try to keep your intake to once a month or even less. And when you do have it, go for grilled or baked eel rather than fried, to cut down on added oils and excess fat. Also, be picky about where it comes from. Choose reputable suppliers who follow strict safety and sustainability standards. That can be tough with eel, since it's often sourced from less regulated environments, but it's worth the effort if you're committed to protecting your long-term health. And remember, there are plenty of other fish that offer the same satisfying richness without all the baggage. Salmon, trout, and mackerel are not only safer but also packed with heart-healthy omega-3s and lower levels of toxins. At this stage in life, every food choice matters a little more. Being mindful about what you eat and how often isn't about being strict or giving up favorites. It's about making small, smart adjustments that help you stay vibrant, active, and mentally sharp for the years ahead. The fish you choose to eat as you age can have a major impact on your health. While fish is often considered a heart-healthy option, not all types provide the same benefits, especially for older adults. Some, like squid, escalar, and eel, contain unhealthy fats, toxins, and other elements that may negatively affect your heart, joints, and even memory. On the other hand, fish like sardines and light tuna offer important nutrients without the risks of other varieties. The good news is you don't have to eliminate fish from your diet. It's about making smarter choices and being more mindful of what you're eating. By choosing the right kinds of fish and watching portion sizes, you can enjoy the benefits without putting your health at risk. If you're ever unsure, it's always a good idea to speak with a healthcare provider or nutritionist who can help you make the best decisions for your body. At the end of the day, a healthy diet is about balance. Whether you're enjoying a grilled fillet or adding a little fish to your favorite recipe, making informed choices can help you maintain a healthy heart, strong joints, and a sharp mind for years to come. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are there any fish you're thinking about cutting back on? Or maybe a healthier option you're excited to try? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on living your healthiest life.